I appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's always fun to speak to an audience like this about entrepreneurship. My name is William Paiva. I do two things. I run the what's called the Oklahoma Life Science Fund, which is a venture fund focused on early stage healthcare opportunities, resident or some sort of business presence in the state of Oklahoma. And then I'm also a partner with the Seven Rosen Funds out of Dallas. I'm honored to be here to talk to you about MesoBio. Before I do that, I thought I'd give you a little bit of perspective of the industry. It's one of the things I like to talk about off the cuff. It's one of the things I'm comfortable talking about. I was talking to somebody this on the drive down. I said, they were like, do you get stressed out about these types of things about talking? I was like, no. I get more stressed out about now when I have to create a new password, because you get like the weak, normal, great password, and it's always very stressful to create the password, and I was doing that yesterday. So no, I'm honored to be here. The U.S. healthcare industry represents 16% of the GDP in the United States. We spend more than any other country as a percent of GDP on healthcare. MesoBio is an interesting company because I think there are three trends that are potentially going to benefit a company like MesoBio. The first is the R&D productivity gap. If you look between 2000 and 2010, the FDA approved about 1/3 fewer drugs than it had in its history. And that's because of the productivity gap of the pharma industry. They're not getting the yield out of their drug discovery and development that they had for many, many, many decades. And there's many reasons of that, but that's a trend that's in the favor of MesoBio. Second is personalized medicine. Today it's estimated to be $265 billion industry in personalized medicine that's growing at 11% per year. Yet again, another trend for MesoBio. Finally, genetic research. We are just still beginning to get our hands around just the basics of genomics and how genetics, and when I think back when I did my PhD in molecular biology, and how much more, just even 15 years later, we know about DNA and RNA molecular biology that we didn't know about 10, 15 years ago. The amount of knowledge that's being created in that industry is phenomenal. I first got to be exposed to MesoBio when they were submitting an EDGE application, and I've seen them present a number of times. It's a very exciting company. I was honored to be asked to help mentor them. I know I haven't been around as much as they would like, but I think it's a very exciting company. Finally, I'll close by saying, you can do this in Oklahoma, you can do it anywhere. Let me give you some examples. I run a fund in Oklahoma, and I want to just, not to be a commercial for those deals, but in the last year, just to give you a highlight, one of our portfolio companies, Selexis, did a $655 million deal with this small company called Novartis Pharmaceuticals. All done in the last year, Oklahoma company. Another company that some of you have seen is a company that allows you to get ECG on your smartphone with a case that snaps on your smartphone. Has raised over $15 million with some prominent West Coast venture firms and this small company called Qualcomm out of San Diego. Altheus Therapeutics, another one of my companies, just started their phase 2 trial, the first company in Oklahoma to initiate a phase 2 clinical trial for ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Very excited about Oklahoma. You can do this here. My word to every entrepreneur out there is the world has changed in the venture industry. You can do this anywhere. And with that as an intro, and I think I exceeded my 5 minutes, I'd like to introduce the MesoBio team, and hopefully they're the next story. Next year we'll talk about their great progress next year that they have over the next 12 months.
Work it, make it, do it, make sense. Harder, better, faster, stronger.
Well, after that introduction, good morning. Shoaib Sheikh. I'm a co-founder of MesoBio. MesoBio is a provider of biomedical products and services. Our products enable enhancements in genetic research. So genetic research has been a big talk over the last 10 years. We've heard about the advancements in science, but what's exciting today is we actually see these advancements being applied. So the first ever diagnostic kit for detecting cancer using a genetic-based technology was approved this year. With these advancements, there has been increase and surge in activity for creating diagnostic kits for other genetic diseases such as lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, and even schizophrenia. This momentum only seems to grow because the race to bring the first therapeutic to market has begun. So as I told you, these are exciting times, and what we see is the increase in the number of activity of researchers that use microRNA today. There are 24,000 active researchers that use microRNA, and they're solving some of the biggest problems: diabetes, cancers, Alzheimer's. And what the problem they see is there are few providers. They provide limited quality and limited coverage of the materials they need to do this research. And the specific material we're talking about is microRNA. So what happens is a researcher buys microRNA, conducts this research with the eventual goal of producing a therapeutic or a diagnostic. So what is a microRNA? In simple terms, microRNA is a trigger that regulates function within a cell. What it means is, in case of lung fibrosis, MicroRNA 21, the overexpression of it, causes this genetic disease. So what scientists have been able to do is take a healthy cell, overexpress MicroRNA 21, and create lung fibrosis. The eventual goal of this research is to take a cell with lung fibrosis, create a therapeutic that will allow them to underexpress MicroRNA 21. And what you get is a system or a process for preventing, curing, and even reversing genetic diseases. So the key component everybody seeks are high-quality microRNA expression vectors. It's very positive. You see the demand for this has increased double over the last 5 years. It's an emerging industry. It's only less than 10 years old and has the potential to be a multi-billion-dollar industry in the next 5 to 10 years. Meso Bio has developed the most comprehensive library of microRNA expression vectors. Our technology allows us this scalable platform to mass produce highest quality expression vectors. This research was done over 8 years with $1 million funded in non-dilutive funding from the National Institute of Health and the Oklahoma Center for Advancement in Science and Technology. We have the exclusive rights to use this technology and extend its application. So with the technology, we are going to market with the expression library of microRNA expression vectors. What you see on the screen are 2 vials. That's the end product. We sell our vectors in the bacterium and the plasmid form. These are given to researchers. Researchers use them to do the research with the eventual goal of coming up with therapeutics or diagnostics for cancers. With the core competency of Meso Bio is our ability to do research in microRNA in this emerging field. So what we have is the unique opportunity to provide services for research through subcontracting and even consulting to teach researchers and institutions to incorporate microRNA in their research. The other opportunity comes from providing supplementary materials that are used in this research. And the eventual and the long-term goal, of course, is to target therapeutics in the lung area. So the market potential for microRNA is $114 million as of today, expanded to double over the next 3 years to $245 million. The main 4 segments that use these products are the NIH and academic researchers, the biotech companies, the pharmaceutical companies, and the biomedical companies. What we've noticed over the last 6 months itself, there's a surge in the activity in the pharmaceutical and the biomedical sector. So a typical researcher buys 10 vectors in a given year to conduct a study. And the study focuses on a specific target that they were trying to learn. So the dollar potential for customer is $4,600 per year per study. If they do multiple studies, then the potential increases based on the study. The key influencers that make them purchase these materials are how familiar they are with the brand, if the material that they're trying to purchase was used and published in a research article, and the costing for procuring the materials. The typical cycle lasts 14 to 30 days for a first-time buyer, and the cycle is truncated in case of a repeat purchase. So Meso Bio has advantages at multiple levels. First, we have the most comprehensive library. Second, we can provide you vectors in all forms, the human, rat, and mice forms. That gives us the exposure to a multitude of researchers. We also can provide you the vectors in 3 forms, the bacterial, plasmid, and viral forms. The biggest advantage that we have is the fact that our vectors are conformed to sequencing. We have the proprietary advantage of our vectors being the only ones that have the lowest mutation rate in the market, which in terms of research is important, because once a researcher starts research, it takes a year to conduct research. And if over this time, if the vector they use mutated, the entire study is nullified. So that's a big advantage that we have. We aim to produce advantage on the service side of the business too, which means our goal is to provide customers quick access to vectors. So typically, a competitor provides vectors in 10 to 14 days. Our goal is to provide them these vectors in 3 to 4 days. And we also plan to launch the first ever subscription-based model for procuring materials in this industry. So the way we envision this model working is, we'll provide a researcher access to 10 vectors, 2 copies of these vectors in case they have to do simultaneous studies or in case something goes wrong with the study for a fixed cost of $5,000. The reason we want to promote the subscription model is because a typical research group has anywhere from 4 to 10 researchers. A typical researcher uses anywhere from 5 to 10 vectors. By having access and availability of extra vectors, the chances of them promoting other peers in the group to use vectors, our vectors, increases, which thereby increases the propensity for them to keep purchasing the materials from us as they continue to do these studies year after year to keep the data consistent. So our goal to take this to market is a simple 4-pronged approach. The first and foremost is the ability to influence and target key influencers, the top 50 researchers in this field. The second strategy is to create relationships with the big research institutes, the cancer institutes. There are 15 of them in the southwest region itself. And our sales strategy is to get access to a wide variety of researchers across the globe. So we are actively talking with bigger distributors like VWR, Fisher, and even Sigma Aldrich. The eventual goal and the process that will make us successful in this business is our ability to build relationships, and this is done through personal selling. Because the nature of the business is it's a high dollar product, it's a repeat product, and if we can build relationships with the institutions, with the researchers, we can grow and sustain our business. So I keep talking about a library of vectors. That, what you're looking behind me on the screen is a refrigerator that contains 400 of our different vectors. As you zoom in, a tray that has anywhere from 25 to 50 vectors on it. So what we're selling are these small vials that sell anywhere from $650 to $900 a piece. The cost for us to produce them, anywhere from $60 to $80. So we have a lean and scalable operating process. We don't require a large footprint to produce these vectors. Our library is a cell culture, so it can be harvested over time. So once we produce a particular vector, we can keep selling the vectors to the customers. The only key resource that we need to sustain and scale our operations is the ability to get researchers and train them to produce and supply and maintain the supply chain. Our team, our co-founders constitute the management of the company. Our CSO, Dr. Lin Lu, is the inventor of the technology and is a regent professor at OSU and the director of lung toxicology at the OSU School of Veterinary Medicine. He is the inventor of the technology and is renowned in the field for his research in the area of lung. I am the interim chief executive officer. I have experience commercializing technologies in homeland security, chemical safety. We started Explosive 3 years ago, and over the 3 years, we've commercialized 2 different technologies, produced and sold 9 different products globally with global distribution agreement with Sigma Aldrich. Our third co-founder is Dr. Ruben Pillay. He is the director of the Center for Healthcare Systems Innovation at Oklahoma State University. He's a physician, has a PhD in business administration. He's successfully grown and exited 8 different ventures over the last 20 years. Upon capital infusion, our goal will be to add to a team which will be the ability to bring key resources that will allow us to scale our operations and sustain the business. We are advised by a diversified advisory board that is highly engaged in the venture, represents 40+ years of experience in the fields of biomedical research, biomedical product development, marketing, and sales. The team, the small team, has been able to achieve a lot over the last year. We've been able to take the technology from the lab and get it product ready. The website is ready to go, and we're ready to go live at the end of this month. Our operations have been set up, and we have actively applied for follow-on R&D to move ahead from the library to other applications. Once we are able to execute our strategy and obtain the key resources, we project sales to grow from $179,000 in year 1, going to $20 million by year 5. Our profit margins, like I said, are extremely high because a single product we sell goes anywhere from $650 to $850. Our cost of producing these vectors for the first time is anywhere from $60 to $80. And we don't have additional production costs because the same vector can be harvested over time. Our break-even is projected in 15 months at 514 microRNA vector units. We seek in $500,000. Majority of the funds raised in this round will be used to extend our team, to get the resources to expand our operations, and to grow and sustain our sales. We foresee an exit in the form of an M&A over the next 5 years. Typically, in this industry, a larger biomedical supplies provider or a research company will acquire a smaller differentiated technology provider like us. Examples of this, as you see, are Theradig acquires Prestigia, and Prestigia, like us, was a company that has this differentiated technology that was in the field of genetics. So to summarize, we already have over $1 million in non-dilutive funding invested to complete our R&D. We have eliminated the product risk. The product is ready to go to market. We have distribution interest right now with the global distributor, which we plan to complete over the next couple of months. And a 5-year exit is at 15x. The biggest value proposition that we bring to the table is to help the researchers that are trying to solve the biggest problems we face in society today: cancers, diabetes, Alzheimer's. So our goal is to enable them, provide them the resources to be able to do so. We are really excited about this opportunity and welcome you to meet us in the lobby after the presentation. Thank you.